Hi. Some more musings on buying horses. I think the first thing to think about when we're buying horses is to remember we've all made mistakes. Even the most expert of us has made a mistake when we have bought a horse. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I went out and found the most beautiful Palomino mare, beautiful golden Palomino, flowing mane and tail, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful looking animal, fell madly in love with it, bought it, and the warning bell should have rung because I couldn't get it in the trailer to get it back. It wasn't that far away from where he lived, so the owner actually volunteered to hack it over, and that should have been enough really. Me to say, actually, you said it was good to box and it won't go in the box. But, you know, they're a lovely horse, all the rest of it. I was extremely lucky. I had it on a bank holiday weekend. I bought it on the Friday evening. It arrived on the Saturday morning. It didn't have any shoes on it. It hadn't been shod for ages. And when the farrier came on the Saturday afternoon, we discovered why it hadn't got any shoes on it. And it nearly took the farrier's head off. And it was dreadful. And it was terrible. And then we turned it out after it had had its shoes on, and then we spent nearly all of Sunday trying to catch it because it was an absolute demon, and we were running round and round around the fields trying to catch the damn thing. And then when we caught it and we brought it in, I wanted to go out for a little hack, and it just stood at the gateway and reared and reared and reared. So I'd got this horse on the Friday night or the Saturday morning, and it proved itself that it wouldn't box, it wouldn't shoe, it wouldn't catch, and it reared. And fortunately for me, it was a bank holiday Monday. And in those days, we didn't do bank transfers and things like that. It was the old cheque. And I turned up on this owner's door and said, give me my cheque back, because she couldn't put it in the bank. Give me my cheque back and you can come and pick your horse up tomorrow. And that's what happened. So, you know, we can all make mistakes when we buy horses. And I'm quite sure any of us that have been around horses for any length of time, they're all going to have at least one, if not more, stories like that. So what I am saying, that if you're going to go out and you are looking to buy a horse, you might make a mistake. And what I'm next going to say is, don't feel you have to live with that mistake. And again, I see it too often. I see people who've been out and they've bought a horse, and it may not necessarily be the demon from hell like the Palomino mare turned out to be, but they actually bought the wrong horse for themselves. And they get it back, and within a fairly short period of time, they actually know it's the wrong horse, but they stick with it. It's like they can't admit that they failed because they've made a mistake. And you haven't failed, you know, and life can be a fairly miserable place if you don't ever put your hand up and say, do you know, I've made a real mistake here. You know, I've screwed up, I've made a mistake. I'm going to start again and sell the horse. I'm going to look for another horse. Now, I know that a horse is not like a car or a piece of equipment. It's a living, breathing animal, and you know, you should be looking at having a horse and keeping it and not sending it from pillar to post. And I try to practice what I preach. You know, I don't tend to sell horses on. But if the circumstances mean that the horse is actually going to have a better life with somebody else, then I'm going to sell it. And I'm going to look for something that I can keep instead. And I think more people should do that. Horses, for most of us, are our hobby. Let's get this in perspective. You know, they're not our marriage. They're not our employment. They are our pastime, our hobby, our joy, our pleasure. If they are not our joy or our pleasure, we're frightened of them, we haven't got a good relationship with them, you know, then they are actually going to enjoy being owned by somebody different. Don't make the mistake that you are the only person that can give that horse a good home, because you're not. There will be other people who will give that horse just as good a home as you can give a horse a home. And if that person is also not frightened of them and will get on them and, you know, do all the things with them that they might actually like doing, then it's better that they do that. I have a colleague, and she won't mind me recounting this story because actually she's done the right thing. That she went out and she was looking for a horse about a year ago, and she bought a very nice little horse. It's a cracking little horse. But they were not a match, and he just frightened her a bit. And there was nothing wrong with him, and there was nothing wrong with her. They just didn't fit. And she was getting so that doing the basic things with him was becoming anxiety making and all the rest of it. And she had him, I think, for about 6 months. And she made what I feel was a very sensible decision. And bearing in mind, this is somebody who has always kept her horses until sort of like the end of their lives. But she'd got this horse. And she put him on a selling livery because she said, look, we're not going to be a match. And I am, not as young as I used to be. And I want to have a horse that's, it's going to meet my needs. He now is with a teenager, and he's jumping all sorts of fences, and he's going off cross country, and they're having a ball. He's having an absolutely great time with this family. And my friend has found herself another horse that it suits her a lot more. Now, interestingly, and I will continue with this friend, the horse that she bought on paper was everything that she was supposed to be looking for. Right age, right size, right experience, and all right. On paper, he ticked every box that she was looking for, and he wasn't right for her. The horse she now has, on paper, didn't tick any of those boxes. It's much younger, very green. Wrong stamp. She'd never had something that was a little bit cobby. She'd always had something that was a little bit bigger and a little finer. Hadn't got any experience, needed to be taught absolutely everything, and was for sale because his previous owner was finding him difficult to cope with. So she'd sold the perfect horse on paper, and she ended up buying a horse that didn't seem to tick any of the boxes, but they just fit. They fit, and she's having a fantastic time with this horse, and he's having a fantastic time with her, and they are a pleasure to see together. And I think they're going to have a lovely, long and happy career. So buying horses is a strange thing. You've actually sometimes got to just go for something that is a lot bigger than you think you wanted, or smaller than you think that you wanted, or the wrong colour, or the wrong sex, or hasn't got the experience. Because sometimes it's a little bit like everything. It's only when you get on that horse that it's going to be right for you. And if I have many pieces of advice. I could do an entire video encyclopedia on what you should be looking for when you're looking to buy a horse, and what things you should and shouldn't do. But what I would say is ride the horse, because sometimes the horse that you look at and think, ooh, that looks a bit much for me, or it doesn't go right. When you sit on it, it should feel right, and it should feel right straight away. It should be like putting your hand in your glove. Do not be persuaded by people who say, oh, you'll get used to him. Oh, you'll get past that. Or no matter how lovely the horse. Or if you get on the horse and it doesn't put a hoof wrong, but it just doesn't feel right. There's just that little niggle and you think, well, he's perfectly behaved, but what if? Don't buy it. Don't buy that horse. Buy the horse that when you sit on that horse, you feel safe. And sometimes those horses, they may not act to the, they may have a spook in them, maybe a bit jumping, they might do a bit, but you feel safe on them. It's very difficult to explain, but that I think is the most important thing when you're going out and looking to buy a horse. Ride it. If you don't feel safe as soon as you get on its back, get off. Because the horse that you feel safe on, it is out there. That's the horse for you. Happy horse hunting. And also, I shouldn't say this really, because I might, well, I don't care if I am bombarded, I'm bombarded. If you do want some advice with no strings attached to it, on what things that you should be looking for when you go out and buy a horse, then, do get in touch with me. And if I can help, I will. Talk to you soon. Bye.